What shall I go through first? What last? What pains the god have given me my share. Now, let me begin by telling you my name, so you may know it well. And I, in times to come, will be your host, your sworn friend, though my home is far from here. I am Odysseus, son of Laertes, known to the world for every kind of craft. My fame has reached the skies. Come, let me tell you about the voyage, fraught with hardships Zeus inflicted on me, homeward bound from Troy. The wind drove me out of Ilium onto Ismarus, where I sacked the city and killed the men. We also met a witch who brought down upon our heads 1,000 bitter troubles, and from there sailed on to the land of the Lotus Eaters, people who eat the lotus. The crewmen who ate the lotus lost all desire to return, but I brought them back, and from there we sailed to the land of the high and mighty Cyclops. Lawless brute among lawless brutes, who trust so to the everlasting gods they never plant with their own hands or plow the soil. They have no meeting place for council, no laws either, no. Up on the mountain peaks they live in arching caverns, each a law to himself. Here we landed, and surely a god steered us. Beaching our vessel smoothly, striking sail, the crews swung out on the low, shelving sand. We spied a cavern just at the shore, gaping above the surf, towering, overgrown with laurel. And here, flocks of sheep and goats were stalled to spend the night. Here was a giant's lair, in fact, who always pastured his sheep flocks far afield and never mixed with others. A grim loner, dead set in his own lawless ways. Here was a piece of work, by God, a monster built like no mortal who ever supped on bread. No, like a shaggy peak, I'd say, a man-mountain rearing head and shoulders over the world. Our party quickly made its way to his cave, but we failed to find our host himself inside, so we explored his den, gazing wide-eyed at it all. The drying cheeses, the folds crowded with young lambs and kids. There we built a fire, set our hands on the cheeses, and settled down inside, awaiting his return. And back he came from the pasture late in the day, herding his flocks home. Then, to close his door, he hoisted overhead a tremendous, massive slab. No 22 wagons, rugged and four-wheeled, could budge that boulder off the ground, I tell you. And as soon as he'd briskly finished all his chores, milking his lambs, milking his sheep, he spied us.
"Strangers,"
he thundered out.
"Now, who are you?"
The hearts inside us shook, terrified by his rumbling voice and monstrous hulk. "We are men of Achaia, homeward bound from Troy," I answered. But not a word in reply to that, the ruthless brute. Lurching up, he lunged out with his hands toward my men, and snatching two at once, he knocked them dead like pups. Their brains gushed out all over, soaked the floor, and ripping them limb from limb to fix his meal, he bolted them down like a mountain lion, left no scrap, devoured entrails, flesh and bones, marrow and all. We flung our arms to Zeus. We wept and cried aloud, looking on at his grisly work, paralyzed, appalled. But once the Cyclops had stuffed his enormous gut with human flesh, he slept in his cave, stretched out among his flocks. And I, with my fighting heart, I I thought at first to steal up to him, draw the sword at my hip, and stab his chest where the midriff packs the liver. But a fresh thought held me back. If I killed him, we'd finish off ourselves as well. How could we, with our bare hands, heave back that slab he set to block his cavern's entrance? Now here was the plan that struck my mind as best. I chopped off a length of wood and shaved the tip to a stabbing point. Then, hiding it well, I waited for our chance to strike. The next day, when the monster had finished off his chores, he snatched up another man and fixed his meal. But this time I lifted a silver bowl, brimful of my ruddy wine, and went right up to the Cyclops, enticing, "Here, Cyclops, try this wine to top off the banquet of human flesh you've bolted down." He seized the bowl and tossed it off, and the heady wine pleased him immensely.
More.
He demanded a second bowl.
A hearty helping. And tell me your name now, quickly.
I handed him an entire fiery bottle. 3 bottles I brimmed, and 3 he drank to the last drop, the fool. And then, when the wine was swirling round his brain, I approached my host with a cordial, winning word. "So you ask me the name I'm known by, Cyclops? I will tell you. Nobody. That's my name, Nobody. So my mother and father call me, all my friends." But he boomed back at me from his ruthless heart.
Nobody? I'll eat nobody last of all his friends. That's my gift to you.
With that he toppled over, sprawled full length, flat on his back, and lay there. And sleep that covers all overwhelmed him now, as wine came spurting, flooding up from his gullet with chunks of human flesh. He vomited, blind drunk. Hoisting high that olive wood with its stabbing point, straight into the monster's eye we rammed it hard, and the broiling eyeball burst. He loosed a hideous roar. The rock walls echoed round, and we scuttled back in terror. The monster wrenched the spike from his eye, and out it came with a red geyser of blood. He flung it aside with frantic hands, and mad with pain he bellowed out for help from his neighbor Cyclops.